I'm looking at the landscape, and honestly, if I'm a fan of these programs, I'm sweating. You got Coach Drippin over at Sac State taking a vacation to Maui, while the assistant coaches are left trying to build a 72 overall team from the ashes. That is exactly the kind of move that got me benched in my third year, Devin. You think you've got the culture established, you think the assistants have the keys, and then you come back and find out the defensive tackles are the only thing keeping the building from collapsing. Weber and Howard Jr. better be ready to play every single snap because nobody else is home.
You mentioned the beats, but I'm looking at the Tulane situation. You're an 84 overall, you're coming off a playoff appearance, and you've got Trill Pappy at the helm. It's either feast or famine with that guy. He brought in that 4-star tackle Fight from ASU, which is a massive get. But the question is whether he's actually going to lock in or if he's going to spend every Saturday morning praying to the sim gods while his roster does the heavy lifting. I've seen this movie, man. I play for a coordinator who spent more time scouting fantasy football waiver wires than our next opponent, and we got our teeth kicked in.
That's the difference, though. You were on a squad that had no business being on the field. Tulane has the juice. Now look at TZ Crockett in Louisiana Tech. They're sitting at 74 overall. They grabbed that Michigan transfer Lee at right tackle, which is a hell of a steal, but he's juggling a newborn, the producer life, and middle school math. I mean, imagine trying to teach a kid how to solve for X while you're trying to figure out how to stop a pass rush with a roster that doesn't have the depth. It's either the greatest story ever told or a complete train wreck waiting to happen by week 4.
Crockett is a madman for trying it, but he's got heart. Now, Gavin Groshak at Texas State, that's the one that's going to break my heart. You're starting your season against Texas A&M, the reigning national champs, and you're sitting there as a 77 overall. That's not a challenge. That's an execution. I once lined up against a squad that was just coming off a title run, and they didn't even look at us in the tunnel. They didn't have to. Groshak needs to get his guys to stop thinking about the logo on the other side and just hit somebody in the mouth. But Texas State seems to only thrive when they're underdogs.
It's the mental hurdle, man. They're terrified of being the favorites. If they can survive that A&M game without getting completely embarrassed, maybe they find something. But it's a long road. And then you've got Beasley at NDSU. They're an 82 overall. They've got Dylan Raiola, who, let's be honest, has been everywhere. And the pressure to win the Mountain West is sitting right on his shoulders. Is he the guy, or is he just looking for his 4th team in 4 years? If they don't make the playoff, this whole experiment feels like a wash. You just knocked your water over, Mike. You're so heated about Raiola, you're literally spilling stuff on the equipment. Look, the kid has talent, but talent doesn't win games in the Mountain West when you're the hunted. Everyone is gunning for that Bison logo. I remember when I finally got a starting spot, I thought I was the man, and the very first corner I faced just absolutely owned me for 4 quarters. He knew my routes, he knew my footwork, and he just dared me to do something else. Raiola is in that spot now. The tape is out. The league knows him. Yeah, but the difference is he was a 5-star. You were a guy who got lucky with injuries on the depth chart. I'm not saying he's going to be a bust, but the Heisman campaign talk for NDSU feels premature. They need to stack wins against the bottom of the conference before we start putting them in the playoff bracket. Quality over quantity, right? That's the strategy everyone is chasing, but only a few of these coaches have the roster to actually pull it off. Most of them are just hoping their stars don't hit the portal by mid-November.
I'm telling you, it's all about the trenches. If Sac State's guys can't hold up while Drippin is in Maui, they're going to be looking at a rebuild by the time he gets back to the facility. You can have all the 5-star QBs you want, but if you're getting 0 push on the line, you're just a guy standing in a phone booth waiting to get hit. And I've been that guy. It's not fun. It's the kind of thing that makes you want to quit the sport and go start a podcast in the basement with your buddy.